pushing. There's not many places in the world you can go to watch a polo match for free.
It's the bond between the rider and the pony.
It's a sport that once it gets in your blood, you just can't get it out.
Soy el groom de los caballos y trabajo para la familia King, cuidando los caballos. Aníbal, mi compañero de trabajo, y somos un equipo. Bueno, en la mañana entramos, después revisamos que los caballos estén todos bien. ¡Vamos! ¡Vamos, chiquito! ¡Vamos, vamos! Ponemos granos. Es grano. Electrolito. Y suplemento. Fly spray.
We feed them grain only in the morning, but they have a lot of grass in the fields, so they're pretty much eating it all the time. This is a fly mask, so there's so many flies around here. It gets, they swarm their face and eyes, and it just really helps them to have something covering them, so the flies can't really get to them.
Sometimes they lose them in the field, and we're short of them. We're always short looking for fly masks because they rub them off or something. They don't like them. They don't understand why they're good for them.
El caballo es muy bonito, le gusta la rutina de trabajo y ya sabe que ahora vamos a dar un pequeño baño y va a descansar.
I'm kind of a groom player here. I help with the daily care and exercise of these horses. We've got about 15 horses in this barn right now, and I play in the practices. I've got a few of my own here as well. This is probably one of my favorite mares right here. Betty, she was bred and taught to play polo from a really young age. She's out of Argentina. But I got kind of lucky with her because paints don't typically play polo, but she's an amazing horse. She doesn't have one solid color. They're not the most sought-after color for a polo pony, but this one is kind of an exception in my eyes. Every morning we get here pretty early. We bring everybody into the barn, we feed them some grain, we give them a good brush, keep their coats looking really nice, and then we take them out on sets and we walk for 45 minutes to an hour and then give them a little trot. Just works on their stamina and endurance, and that's how we exercise them.
¡Be careful! Mira. Me gustó la disciplina, cómo se trabaja, cómo se tratan los caballos. Eso quería aprender y no dejas de aprender. Todos los días aprendes de uno, de otro y es algo lindo. Algo, como te dijera, es un mundo que si te gusta, quieres más y pasa el tiempo y sigues en lo mismo.
¿Tú tienes caballos listos ahora o no? No les importa que yo juego primero?
No importa. Acomódalo.
I would say a lot of what I do here is manage the horses, manage their care, oversee a lot of the injuries, but also I'm a player. I've been riding horses since I was 6 years old, and from that first day, probably haven't missed many. For me, the polo is still relatively new. I've been doing it for about 5 years now, competitively for about 3. For me, it was always about the horse. You know, when you do have those horses that you've made, or even the ones you haven't, and they're picking up on the plays before you are. Certainly, I play some of them that know the sport better than I do, so I just have to trust them and go with it. So I'm frequently just amazed by these animals when I do see them catch the play before I do.
So when I first started coming and playing here, there was a lot of older people that had just been playing for a while, and there weren't a whole lot of new players coming up. So we kind of brainstormed that in order to have a future in the sport and be able to play for a long time, we needed to start getting more players in Charlottesville. One of the ways to do that is through a polo school, so starting to teach people how to play, getting more players to come and play with us, and then kind of raising the level of polo, and then also bringing new players up is our goal. Okay, vamos a ver. We hit a pothole. And the front tire of the trailer is flat. But we have a spare in the back, so we're really close. We're just gonna go slow, and then we'll change it at the field. Always something.
Season, it's just like your whole day, every day. Unless you have people working for you, but we don't. So we pretty much do it all ourselves. It's a lot of work, but it's pretty rewarding.
I work most days
in the barn from like 7 until 6 or I don't know. It's like an all day, every day type of situation. I get a lot of joy out of being in the barn and get everything ready myself. Just wiping the tack down before we start to get the horses ready, make sure everything's clean. And if it gets sweaty and then it dries, the leather gets really hard and starts to crack. So this just like preserves it, and also when the leather's softer, it's like just nicer to hold and it doesn't give you like blisters on your hands as badly. Lucy, stop! This is her trailer, she gets around. She makes sure everything at the trailer is the way it should be.
I think there has to be a relationship between the two. I think the polo horse is probably 80% of that relationship, and they're the ones that are racing to the ball. They're the ones making the ride-offs. The players are making decisions for those horses as far as where to go to be able to pick the ball up, and the players themselves are hitting the ball. So they need athletic ability and timing and so forth to be able to do that. But you can be a top player in the world, but if you don't have a horse to support you, you're not going to be able to get there to make the plays necessary to win a match.
Now I'm a little hot.
You can play really hard against someone and then everyone understands what you're going through and how stressful it can be, so it's really nice to relax with everyone after the game. That's probably one of my favorite things about polo is places you go and the people you meet, and everyone is so welcoming and has so much hospitality towards you. It's really great. Lucy's a good barn dog. She loves to come to the barn and hang out, and she started taking on this like protective role of the horses, and whenever I go to ride, she'll stay at the trailer and watch them, and she barks if someone breaks away or is loose and tries to herd them back, and like 50% of the time she herds them in the right direction, but she thinks she's helping the whole time.
This farm was purchased for the ability to put in a polo field. It was here because it's difficult finding flat ground in Albemarle County. So that's the entire reason the farm is here, is polo.
Watching him pursue his passion at this business has become a way that we've been able to grow the business, sell more wine, and just provide a wonderful place for people to come out and enjoy a polo match.
We are a working farm, first and foremost. We have lots of folks here who employ to keep the vineyard, keep the farm, operate the tasting room on a daily basis, make the wine. I think people maybe don't perceive us as farmers sometimes, but we definitely are. We're growing things here, and we do everything by hand. Vines are tended by hand, we pick by hand, and all the wine making is done by hand, sorting the fruit.
Mama Bear. Mama's been incredible. She's been instrumental and essential for the growth and success of this place. Everything aesthetically that you see has her fingerprints all over it. She has been kind of the guiding hand where my dad says, well, I want to do this. She's like, all right, well, this is how we're going to do it. And she still works here every day, really, really hard, harder than everybody.
My dad played starting in the 80s. I think he really liked the farm life and equestrian life and just a competitive sport.
My dad always wanted it to be a community event, something free and open to the public. Watching it grow from my dad's passion and hobby to something that the community really loves to enjoy. Loves to come out here, they get to enjoy the green grass, look at the beautiful mountains. They don't even have to buy wine.
Several years ago when my dad was becoming unable to play, cancer, passed away at 19, he looked around the room at a dinner and said, who's gonna take it up? Somebody's gotta play. And of course, the three brothers, nobody rides. Nobody raised their hand. My wife, who has been riding since she was little, she said, I'll give it a try.
David King was such an awesome man, and I would say our connection was really strong in terms of the polo and the love of horses. And he was such a fabulous mentor and definitely pushed me and definitely had expectations or hopes for me that, Lord knows, I hope I'm fulfilling. You know, the idea here is really to honor his legacy.
There is, I think, a misperception out there from movies and media about polo, and that it's all glamorous and big hats and dresses and the whole bit and charcuterie boards, right? But in reality, on the other side of the field, where all the gritty work gets done, you know, it's cold beer or sometimes warm beer, and at the end of the day, and jumps in a horse trough to cool off, and scooping horse poop and all the rest. So it's a lot of work that goes in. You've got to be willing to do to take care of a field and take care of the horses, because we treasure them as teammates. If you boil polo down to the salient point, it's the bond between the rider and the pony. That is the unique thing that gets in the blood of polo players. Whoa! It's the ultimate challenge. I mean, just riding at the speeds that you've seen and hitting a little bitty ball with a 54-inch bamboo mallet.
Oh no!
Behind every successful polo player, there's a lot of really hardworking people that help them keep the horses in the best shape possible and all of their equipment in the best shape possible.
When we drop the chain and let people come and watch. And when they pull in, everything looks organized and ready, but it's the 24 hours before that, every single week. And then planning with weather and watching if we can even have polos, so it's safe enough for the horses, of getting it lined and cut, and the horse is ready, and the tail's tied, and the shoes ready, and the mallet's set up right, and all the tents. So it's right before the circus starts. It just feels like you're stomping fires out, and every few minutes there's another fire. But we've got a great team here, and the boys and mom, we all pitch in. We love to work.
Here on Sundays, managing the scoreboard, helping set everything up.
We love to share this property with anybody that wants to come enjoy a little slice of Central Virginia, and the funniest times are just trying to scramble and get everything ready right on time so that we can entertain, but people can share in this awesome sport.
Umpire is going to throw our ball in and get us ready to go. We'll have a lot of really nice hitters out here today, so those balls can be flying. Both the horses and the balls, they hop the board pretty easily. So make sure you have your eye on the ball. Now for Nico taking on the near side. Flicks it back to himself, trying to set himself up for a better shot, but Mark playing nice tight defense today.
Coming behind!
It's very intense. It's a very fun sport. A lot of people come to watch and they've never tried it. I think if you try it, you'll be addicted quick because it's a sport that once it gets in your blood, you just can't get it out. It's very intense. There's a lot of spirit to the game when it's played, and you're competing against people that love horses and love the sport.